एंटर इलियास डॉक्टर मुस्तफ़ा 2 कर दें, डॉक्टर मुस्तफ़ा 2। यार इन इलियास म्यूट।
Sir, you can start. We are live.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir,
स्टूडेंट्स,
you're audible, but आपकी sound का echo आ रहा है.
अब वो नहीं आएगा। मैंने वो दूसरा मोबाइल से उसको लॉगिन था, उसको भी बंद किया। हाउ इज इट नाउ? So shall I start now?
Yes, sir, you can start now.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we are 3 here. I don't think we have some sufficient number of people. It's live. Viewers comments show up on the StreamYard. This is an example. Yes, sir. I don't know what is the problem. I think we are here. 3 of us are here. And how many people are there? Can you show your hand? Raise your hands in chat box. I have to guess that whether we are enough or not.
Well, right now there are 30 people.
Okay, then we shall start now. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we are ready for the second day of the sessions. Let us have a brief review of the previous day's work. What we talked about was why research is important, what are different pathways that you can take after MBBS. Okay, then importance of then scholarships, different skills, a success story, research, where we stand, another slide of skills we need to learn for research, specifically health related issues but we can do research on. Then is scientific evidence, and finally level of evidence. These are study designs that you most of the people learn during fourth year MBBS in biostatistics and epidemiology, cross-sectional case control quad study, trials, randomized control trials or experimental studies. We'll be discussing most of the second half of the lecture regarding the study designs and aligning objectives with them. So keep in mind this slide, keep in your mind, then we'll proceed. Why research is important and types of research. And yes, these same types of study designs, qualitative research. I would like to spend some few minutes on this. What is the role of what is the role of individuals in team? So why team is important because TEAM, together we can achieve more. If you want to be more efficient, you want to achieve greater goals and more efficiently, then you have to work in the teams. So there are when traditionally we people are not habitual of working in teams. We want to do what we want to lead. Actually, everyone want to be PM, CM of the country, and then everyone want to be captain of the cricket team. And if not, they will not play. Okay, they will not give 100% of the input. So these are 10 key roles. There are so many others, but these are very important 10 key roles that one can play while he or she is in team. So there are some task roles, there are some social roles, there are boundary spanning roles. So whoever is the leader, contractor, creator, contributor, completer, and critic, these are task roles. Then there are some social roles like cooperator, communicator, and calibrator. And finally, boundary spanning means beyond the organization, council, or coordinator. The leader who is leading the team leads, and he may not only leader but every member of the team may be contractor at some stage of time, a creator at another time, contributor all the time, completer or critic, cooperator, communicator, or calibrator. These are three important things that everyone plays their role, be it a leader or it is a team member. So these are different roles. If you are in clinical team, you may be a house officer, only say you are in OT and you are holding retractor whole of the time during a surgery, and the role may look like very a little of little impact, but it is very important. So in team member, if someone is doing very little role during the task, don't think that it is not important. Someday, one day, or in the same surgical surgery, you may play some other role. Maybe you are assisting at some time to the, you are doing nursing role, you are doing the helping the anesthetist, you are telling the surgeon that there is a bleeder that he has actually omitted. So there, I think I want to shed light on this, that the roles may be different. Whatever role you get in your life, be it very small, little role, go for it and grab that opportunity and work in the team. You will finally get the leader's role as well. So have a look on these roles, go do a Google, and you will find that how important these are. And a leader or the team member, he or she can be very important in any role. So the roles can be shifting. So be ready for playing in any role while you are in the research team, in a project team, or in a academic team. Be ready for these different types of roles. So, coming to the main topics of today's presentation, today we'll be discussing topic selection, objective formation, and then choosing appropriate study design for the topic or the objective, and what are the outcomes of the what would be the outcome of the objective or analysis or study designs you choose. So, we will be doing these things today. So, how to select a research topic? The most important thing is it relevant, or is there a scientific reason for choosing a study subject's study topic? Is there some element of innovation? Is it feasible to you? both technically, financially, and time-wise? Is there some ethical issue or not? So, what is relevance? Say we are doing a research on like HIV. We have to do a research, and the topics are Zika virus, HIV, and maternal health. So, Zika virus is not present in a country. It is not reported in our country. So, obviously, it is not relevant to our country. About HIV, 50-50. And when we talk about maternal health or child health, it is very relevant to our country. So, whatever you do, whatever topic you select, it must be relevant to the society or the community. Another reason, another phenomena, another characteristic that you need to keep in mind while selecting a research topic is scientific reason. Uh, is there any impact? Is it going to impact the literature or impact the policy making or impact the practices that are being carried out in the specific field? So if there is an impact, then there is a scientific reason as well. Innovation means newness of the project. Like we talked about force of gravity. It was invented by Newton, and then it was let me. There is distraction. Double voices are coming. 1848. Still double voice. Please wait. Oh my goodness. Why is there double voice? Wait, please. This is the problem with. Let me solve this problem. You are out? Okay. So why is this problem? नहीं नहीं अतिदा देखे अभी डबल वॉइस है you can message me in the chat box. Double voice problem solved or not? Comment in the comment box. अब देखें इकोइंग खत्म हुई. I think there is a problem. Very bad. There is a problem. Okay, my voice is clear now. Okay, so another thing is we're talking about innovation, newness of the. So we're talking about the Newton who invented what is gravity, and then if someone want to do some innovative work on gravity, then it would be what is the value of force of gravity. Okay, so this is new thing that someone is adding in existing pool of knowledge. So innovation means newness of the topic. And then is feasibility. There are so many types of feasibility. Feasibility, uh, is it technical feasible to do? Are there equipments available in the country? Like if someone do want to do study on uh, like drug development in Pakistan, this facility is not available. Okay, so oh my goodness, आतिदा आप मुझे मैसेज कर सकती हैं, उसमें व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप को भी मैं देख रहा हूँ उधर से, कि अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो वहाँ मुझे बताएं. Feasibility means, are there equipments available? This is technical feasibility. Are there finances available? Financial feasibility. Are there time? Is it feasibly? Is it we are able to do it in expected time, whatever feasible time is. If you want to do a research in 3 months, that is in fourth year of MBBS, and you must keep in mind that you have to plan a study research project that is complete in 3 months, not in 1 year. So there are some ethical issues as well you must keep in your mind while doing. There are so many things like in West there are some next level ethical issues, end of life decisions, and decisions on abortion. These are different types of issues that they face. But in Pakistan, there are some other, like they are related to sexual health and sex-related issues, social issues. We can't talk about them publicly. So you have to be careful while selecting the topic, that ethically it is feasible or not. If you are doing research on HIV, transmission of HIV that is related to sexual transmission, you can't ask in the public how it is transmitted and what protective measures you take. You can't ask everybody. So there are some ethical issues as well. So while selecting the researchable topic, what counts is intellectual interest as well. Disease or healthcare services means, is it relevance to the community? Alternate treatment modality to the existing diseases, like in COVID, there were so many alternative treatment modalities suggested. Future projections of the magnitude of the specific health issues. So how to decide on whether it is relevant? Is there is a scientific reason? Is it whether it is innovative or not? Feasibility is there or not? You have to do the literature search, literature review. For literature review means you go into Google or internet. The most important the website is PubMed. Google Scholar, an AI-based literature review. You can do it. People are doing nowadays. There is a lot of debate on it, how to use these AI boards to doing literature search or using research. So go to PubMed, and whatever topic you have selected, write the keywords in PubMed, and find, you will find there are hundreds of thousands or even millions of articles on those research topics. You have to go in all through them, and then find what is already known on the subject, and you have to find the gap in the research. And once you find the gap in the researchable topic, then you plan the objective research question, then objective, and finally choose the appropriate study design, variables, and how you are going to collect the data. So for literature review is very important, while writing introduction as well, discussion as well. So for research, selecting a researchable topic, you have to go into literature search on PubMed specifically. There are some other sources as well. You can use Mendeley is a software. You can use that, and there are so many others. But a simpler one for the beginners are the go to PubMed and uh, use keywords of your topic, and they will go into details how to use keywords. So research topic selection. These are some important criterias, values you have to keep in mind, and these include relevance, innovation, feasibility, social acceptability, cost effectiveness, ethical consideration. I have tried to make a sub-objective method, keeping view these different characteristics of researchable topic, and try to make this subjective process into more objective by adding numbers 0 to 4 to each of these characteristics. Say, let us have three topics. On the first column, risk factors of maternal death, risk factors of HIV, risk factors of Zika virus. So the criteria of selection are the same I discussed you earlier. I have graded them from 0 to 4, each one of them, and they totally in total they make 24. So like we have the first proposed topic, risk factor of maternal death, relevance. Is it relevant to our country? Yes. If you go into literature review, you do the literature search, you will find that the biggest issue in Pakistan, among others, is maternal death, maternal health issues. So it is very relevant. We are among the top nations of the world who have the highest maternal deaths during childbirth and related issues. So is it it is very relevant to our country, to our community. Innovation, yes. If you go into literature on the PubMed or the Google Scholar, you will find that there is a huge number of articles, research is done on this topic. So you will find that to find innovation would be a difficult task. So I marked it like this is again a little bit of subjective way that I am marking it 4 or 1 or 2. It depends upon individuals' preferences and individuals' interest as well. But we have to uh, do some numerical work and adding some objectivity into the topic selection of the research. Feasibility, yes. If you want to determine the risk factor of maternal death, you can easily find technically you can easily find the patients, you can easily find these patients in the wards, even in the general population as well, whenever there is a maternal death. Social acceptability, 50-50. People are not very much worried about talking about maternal death. They are, although you can say this, I have labeled it 2, but it can be 3 or 4 as well. Cost effectiveness, yes. If it is done in wards, gynae ward, it is very easy to conduct maternal death. You take cases of maternal death and then controls who are healthy otherwise, not died of maternal causes. So the cost effectiveness is reasonably good. I labeled it 2. Ethical consideration, again, it is acceptable in Pakistan, in our society, that you talk about maternal death and people will give to you the data very easily. And overall, it makes 12 out of 24. Then another topic, if we compare on these parameters, the risk factor of HIV. Yes, it is relevant 50-50. It is relevant to our country. We are having patients of HIV in our country, not as much as those in the Africa and some of the Western countries. So 50-50, 2 out of 4. Innovation, I label, yes, there are not so many researches and projects done on HIV in Pakistan. Little bit more innovation. Feasibility, yes, difficult to do because to find the patients of HIV and getting in contact with them and getting history from them is not that much easy. Social acceptability, yes, it is difficult to ask people about the risk factor, transmissions, how protective measures. It is difficult, so I labeled it 1. Cost effectiveness, 50-50. You can find patients not too much costly, but again, not that easy as compared to maternal death patients. Ethical issues, yes, it is very difficult. People will not be giving you the data easily. Uh, this becomes ethical and social issue as well. So about the last topic, proposed topic, risk factor of Zika virus. Is it relevant to our country? Simply no, because we don't have these patients in our country. It is not reported in Pakistan. It is not relevant to our country as compared to maternal or HIV. Innovation, yes, you can do some research that is not in Pakistan. So innovation is maximum. Feasibility, how you can find the patients of Zika virus here in Pakistan. So feasibility is 0. Social acceptability 1. I have given these numbers on my own judgment and knowledge, and ethical issues are 50-50. So from these numbers 12, 10, and 7, the maximum number the topic which could get the maximum number is risk factors of maternal death. So, this is how you select a research topic among so many. If you list them and judge them on these parameters like relevance, innovation, feasibility, social acceptability, cost effectiveness, ethical considerations, and you whether you do it in this way or not, you must keep in your mind that you have to write the rationale of your study, of your research, in the last paragraph of your introduction. So these things must be in your mind, and you have to write about these things before you can start with the objective writing of the research. So this is all about how to select a research topic and adding some objectivity in this process. So, okay, so we are done with the topic selection. The next thing would be obviously what we can do with these topics. So, we have three different distinct approaches from now onward. Once you have selected the topic, three distinct approaches. Then after that approaches, you have to select the topic and find the appropriate study design. We will go through these in next 30 minutes. So three distinct approaches that you can go after topic selection. I'm going back to a slide that is relevant to this. Remember this. There is cross-sectional study, case control study, part study, then experimental study. These are four major types of study that you will encounter. Yes, there are some other types, some meta-analysis, systematic analysis are there. Wait, someone has messaged me. So three distinct approaches. You can go selection. After talking selection, back to a slide that is going back to a slide that is relevant. Remember this. Remember this. अगेन बेटा ये डबल वॉइस आ गई है, आज तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट हैज फेल्ड. हमने इसके ऊपर आए, तो मैं ऐसा ना करूं कि इसको जी. Okay. So I was talking about these study designs: cross-sectional study, case control or cohort studies, and experimental. Look at these four words: descriptive, analytical, and interventional. So these are three lines: descriptive, analytical, or interventional lines that come into play after you select your research topic. So whenever you select a research topic, even while you are selecting a research topic, you have to keep in your mind, decide on these things as well. Whether you are going to describe the situation, whether you are going to identify the risk factors, or you are going to give treatment or prevention trial. So another thing, continue please. Okay. Another thing was There is disruption again. Look at this slide as well. I think it's not there. Delete it. Okay. Okay, I will discuss here again. Three distinct approaches. Hierarchy of evidence. We were discussing about that what is the problem, then why is the problem, and how to solve that problem in hierarchy of evidence. So the biggest thing that comes in mind, what is the problem? What is the magnitude of the health problem in the population? Which type of disease are common? If the communicable diseases are more in the population, then obviously you have to do research. You have to invest your money on communicable disease. If cardiovascular diseases are more common, means burden of cardiovascular disease is more common, obviously you have to direct your investments and time and effort on the cardiovascular disease and so on. So the first thing is description of the disease burden of the in the population, whether it is in rural areas, urban areas, it is in young, in old, in male or female. So the first question that you ask is what is the problem, and then obviously the next issue is what are the reasons, what are the causes of the those health problems you have selected. So risk factors are the causes of the diseases. The next stage is risk factor identification, and we discuss it. Risk factor identification takes place with the most easiest one is case control study, and then next is cohort study. And the third one, experimental studies or randomized control trial, the best one in experimental designs, treatment or prevention studies. And these types of studies answer the questions like how to solve the problem. Okay. So these are three questions. What is the problem? Why is the problem? And how to solve the problem? So once you selected the topic, you have three distinct lines, and you have to decide on the objectives. What is objective? It is a broad statement of purpose reflecting conditions one wants to achieve at some time in future. So once you have selected the topic, you have to be very careful, very specific, and make a statement that is specifically tells you what you are going to do. In next slides, we will learn how we make objectives for a topic. Let us have these descriptions of these three different distinct approaches one by one. Descriptive approach. Okay, if the topic selected, these are examples and with the outcomes as well, and some important aspects that you have to decide on. You can take screenshot of these as well. Topic selection. The topic you selected, say you selected topic of nutritional status of rural population. This is a broad area. The purpose would be what is the problem? Okay, what is the burden of disease of nutritional diseases in rural population of, say, some district in Yarkhan. So what you will achieve after the completion of the study, you will find prevalence of the disease, say anemia, in the population of Reem Yarkhan, rural population of Reem Yarkhan. The result would be like this. So for a broad area, nutritional status of rural population, the objective that is smart enough, means specific, measurable, achievable, and time bound. This could be like this: to determine the prevalence of anemia in adult rural population. Is it more specific? Is it not more specific? We are not talking about there are so many nutritional problems in the population: obesity, malnutrition, kwashiorkor, iodine deficiency, so many others. We are only specifically talking about anemia in adult rural population. The broad area was nutritional status of rural population, whole rural population, and now we became more specific. means adult, only adult rural population. So this became more specific. So look at this. Your objective must be specific, measurable, achievable, repeatable, and time bound. So can we measure anemia? Yes. Simple equipment. Can we achieve this? You can go to rural areas, you can talk to adults, you can get their blood samples and all that. So this is more specific, measurable, and achievable. The results of the objective, such type of objective in descriptive approach that we call cross-sectional study becomes like this. Say 50% of the adult rural population is anemic. The results would be like this: 50, 40, 20, or 80%, whatever it be. So the results would be like this. You can get percentage of the disease in the population. This is called descriptive approach. We are describing that it is rural population, it is they are adult, and the prevalence is frequency is anemia disease of anemia disease. So this is descriptive, describing the population. The appropriate study design is cross-sectional study for such type of descriptive approach. Sample size depends upon, this is another topic we will discuss tomorrow, depends on anticipated burden of disease in the population and precision needed. How precisely you want to get your results close to the population results. How precisely you want to be. Number one. Another, anticipated, how much do you expect the anemia would be prevalent in rural population, and you get these anticipated values of anemia from the previous literature after literature review. Sample size must be adequate. Sampling technique, there are two types of techniques: random and convenient. Random means you give every person, say in this example, it is adult rural population. Say there are like 2 million people living in rural areas of Raim Khan. Among them, there are some 1 million people who are adults. Okay, adult rural population is 1 million. You give, say you selected a sample of 1,000. You calculated a sample of 1,000 adult rural population. So random means you gave each and every person among the 1 million adult rural persons equal chance to be selected in the sample so that it becomes representative. Another thing, and another way would be that you go into the neighboring villages of city and get the sample from the neighboring villages who are very close to city, and you select the sample on your convenience. So whenever there is a convenient sample, it is not representative. The research which is not representative is not worth doing. Study subjects. In this, you have to decide on which type of study subject which are the study subjects on which you are going to do research. So study subjects in this case would be adults, both male and female. You have to clearly define what are the study subjects so that you can generalize based on the on that specific uh, uh, portion of the population. Inclusion criteria is to make study subjects more clear and specific, and so that later on will discuss this as well. Study duration and site is very important. Say we are living in rural areas of Raim Khan. Raim Khan is in rural areas of Pakistan, and this is also a cotton belt, and there is a lot of cotton dust in cotton picking season. If we go into the field and get data on allergic rhinitis in those days, like in March, April, in February, March, January, February, and March, you'll find that the huge population a huge number of the people would have allergic rhinitis in those days. In other days, other than these days, the allergy is less common. So it is very important. Even if in Lahore, you are in Lahore, in the days of heavy fog, you will find there is the allergic conjunctivitis very high among the population. So you have to tell the time, area, and season when the study was conducted, and also the city. If it is in Lahore, then high allergic conjunctivitis has a reason. If it is in Raim Khan or even in deep areas of Balochistan, then obviously you have to think about some other things as well. So there is geographic and time variation of the disease. Analysis, when you do analysis of such types of descriptive approaches, means cross-sectional study, you'll find that you will get mean, median, mode, measures of central tendency, and measures of dispersion like standard deviation, range, and standard error. You will get these things. So in this case specifically, we're talking about adult rural population and anemia level. So we can get hemoglobin level of 11 plus minus 2 standard deviation. You can get these types of result, means mean and standard deviation. You can label a cutoff level of 10 milligrams per deciliter as anemia, and you will then, based on this cutoff level, you can get proportion of the population who is having anemia based on 10 mg per deciliter of HB. So it can be presented as percentages. So ethical issues, yes, you need to get the informed ethical approval from the institutional review board and get informed consent from the patients as well. This is very important nowadays. Ethics and publication are related with each other. If you don't get ethical approval and informed consent, then the journals do not accept your publication manuscripts for publication. So the conclusion of such type of descriptive approach in which study design is cross-sectional study, conclusion is usually like these. In this specific example would be adult rural population has high or low anemia, in this case very high anemia, okay, prevalence. And this must be based on results and in accordance with the objectives as well. Data collection tools here use will be questionnaire and the other instrument that are HB, hemoglobinometer and things like that. So these are instruments. So this is all about the descriptive approach when we measure the magnitude of the problem. In this case, we measure what is the magnitude of anemia in adult rural population. Okay, so we measure burden of disease. So next thing is why? Why did this happen? Means risk factor
Sir,
identification causes.
sir, slides are stuck.
It's working now. No,
No, sir.
just wait, just wait. Let me check.
Yes, sir, they are working now.
It's working now. Yes. No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So last four slides. So obviously next we have discussed that first once we have decided on the burden of disease, what is the burden of disease in a population, then next question is why is the problem. So you have to select analytical approaches, and analytical approaches are two approaches, means case control studies and cohort studies. Yes, there are some subtypes of these as well, but whenever you want to do a research on identification or determination of risk factor of some disease or phenomena, you have to select among one of these two, case control or cohort study designs. Okay, the easier one is case control study. We'll discuss later. Okay, so the topic broad area is same: nutritional status of rural population, broad area, purpose, why is the problem, and we will determine the risk factors of anemia. So objective would be to determine the risk factor of anemia in adult rural population. There is slight change: to determine the risk factor of anemia in adult rural population. Look, to determine prevalence of anemia in adult rural population versus to determine the risk factors of anemia in adult rural population. For this one, when there is prevalence, you selected study design which is cross-sectional. And once you are in determining the risk factor, means you are going into analytical approach, that is you have to select case control or cohort studies. So when your objective is to determine the risk factor of anemia in adult rural population, so the result would be risk factors would be identified, determined. Say, uh, intestinal worm infestation among the anemic patients. There might be intestinal worm infestations that may be causing, there may be the cause of the anemia among the adult rural population. Okay, so there is a difference between these two, case control study and cohort studies. Whenever you do analysis of these two things, case control study, you will find odds ratio. Okay, for example, in this case, if it was a case odds ratio case control study, you will find odds ratio for having intestinal worms among anemic is 3. 3 means those who are cases of intestinal anemia has 3 times more chances of having intestinal worm infestation. This is like that. The interpretation is like that. You will find odds ratio as outcome of case control study for the risk factor, and you will find relative risk, similar type of concept in cohort studies. Okay, also in cohort studies you can also get incidence of the disease because the disease occurs in front of you. So go into details of the case control and cohort studies on your books or on the Google. You will find that these are the key differences. You want basically to assess to determine the risk factor, and the results are usually in this way. You can also learn about odds ratio and relative risk. What is the importance of having two or one? One means there is no relationship, no association between the intestinal worm manifestation and anemic. Two means 2 times more chances of having intestinal worms. Three means 3 times. Okay, so this is interpreted like that. Sample size again depends of anticipated burden of disease in population, precision, anticipated odds ratio, anticipated uh, if it is cohort study incidence and relative risk in the previous studies. So these are like that. Similarly, you have to. Okay, sampling technique. I told you that random versus convenient. You always go for random if you really want to do a better, good research and representative research. Okay, so then we have study subjects. In this case, we will take both adult male and females in case control studies, and in cohort studies adult male and females. In case control study, you will take cases of intestinal anemia and those who don't have anemia as controls, who don't have anemia. Cases means cases of disease, control means people who don't have the disease. And in cohort study, you take healthy cohorts who don't have disease, but they have the risk factors. They may have the risk factors. And exclusion, we discussed it earlier. Analytical, so next is study duration and site. Yes, it is again important for the time, city, and area due to geographic and time variation. Analysis outcome in case control studies are odds ratio, and you can also apply test of significance in these types of analytical approaches, case control cohort studies. Test of significance include t-test. You have must have listened about t-test, z-test, pair t-test, chi-square test, Wilcoxon test, ANOVA, and these things. These tests of significance actually measure the role of chance in the study, that the results you found, you got the result, how much is the role of chance of getting similar types of results. And we take a liberty, we give a 5% chance as normal. When there is less than 5, more than 5, that it means we can discuss it later on as well. So this is also probability of getting a result as close to. Ethical issues, yes, you have to go into ethical approval and informed consent. Conclusion, in such type of study, when you have analytical approaches in as study designs, you write conclusion this way. Uh, Risk factors like intestinal worms or low intake of iron rich food is significantly associated, or in other cases not significantly associated with anemia in adult rural population. Data collection tools, वही questionnaire and instruments valid होना चाहिए. It must be reliable and there must be pre-testing. References, Harvard style or Vancouver, it depends which one you select. You can go into Google and check how Harvard and Vancouver style differ from each other. So this is how you go from measuring burden of disease to determine the risk factor and selecting case control and cohort studies, and these types of our results would come, and you have to write the conclusion in this way, that risk factor like intestinal worms alone iron intake is significantly, or in case it is not significantly associated with anemia in adult rural population, what types of result can be achieved. So last thing is treatment or experimental approach. In this, we basically answer question why is the how to solve the problem. So you have to intervene, you have to do an experiment. So the broad area is again same, nutritional status of rural population. This is broad area. Purpose of such types of approach is to how to treat or prevent the disease, prevention or treatment. Both are experimental type of approaches. So if it is treatment, then cure rate of certain treatment intervention. We can take the example of same previous examples we are discussing. Objective of such experimental approach may be to determine the effect of albendazole or hygienic food intake for treatment of anemia in adult rural population. Look the difference. Here we are talking about effect of some intervention. In this case, it may be albendazole in one group of people and hygienic food intake for avoiding intestinal worm infestation in other group. Okay, so both are these are interventions. These are experiments. To one group you give albendazole, to other group you advise them to use a hygienic food intake. Okay, so these are two groups, and once you have intervened, means you have experimented with these two types of interventions. So the results could be albendazole once a month cured 80% of the patient in an intervention group versus 20% in health education for hygienic food and so which one? Obviously albendazole is better. So this is how the results of an experimental approach comes into reality. Appropriate study design or intervention is experimental. The best one is randomized control trial, experimental. You can go for quasi experimental and things like that. Intervention group इसमें होगा albendazole और comparison will be health education group. Sample size के वही criteria है. Then we'll go into sampling technique. Random is much better. Don't go for convenient in experimental approaches. It's worst thing to do. Then study subjects, both male and female, who have anemia. You give one of the, you divide into half and give them, one of the group gets albendazole, other group gets the health education for hygienic health eating habits. Study duration site is important as already discussed. Questionnaires, you will data collect through questionnaires. Instruments, you can use instruments for intervention as well, like for surgical intervention, for some for drug delivery system, things like that. The questionnaire must be valid, reliable, and it must be pre-tested. We'll discuss tomorrow. Intervention and analysis outcome क्या निकलेंगे? The intervention or analysis outcome would be cure rate in intervention group or cure rate in the control or comparison group. Or we talked about earlier कि albendazole once a month cured 80% और उसमें 20%. So ethical issues are similar types of ethical issues. But conclusion would be anemic patient treated with albendazole are significantly better in treating anemia in adult rural population. Okay. So ये देखें, there are three different approaches. Okay, we are going back. One approach is descriptive, in which you simply describe the population and use study design that is cross-sectional. And in analytical approaches, you have two study designs, case control and cohort study. You ultimately get odds ratio or relative risk and incidence in cohort study. And then you get the association, whether it is associated or not, the risk factor is associated with the disease or not. And finally is interventional experimental thing that you want to treat the problem now. Okay, so you get the cure rates, or even you can get side effect rate or complication rate or things like that for safety and efficacy measures. So this is how these three different approaches This is the biggest, these 6 slides are the biggest thing that I have ever found among the teachers, students, that they are facing these types of problem. This is basically key. You can make screenshot of these and make them key. And whenever you do your research in future, you can use these as template. You will find that it helps a lot. Based on these 6 slides, I have asked someone, a data software developer, to make software as well. Maybe in near future we get software of these, and you get things done very easily using that software. Hopefully. So these are some few things that we have discussed. Tomorrow we'll do talk about sampling types, and then sample size calculation, and in last part we will, yeah, validity and reliability, and finally data analysis on SPSS. We will do small data collection. We'll enter into SPSS live, and we'll show you how the data entry is done and how the data analysis is done, how it is interpreted. Okay, so that's all for today. So any question, please?
Sir, I think there is a question. Someone asked about the stratified sampling technique.
Yes, tomorrow we'll be discussing sampling. Okay, convenient and random sampling. We will discuss in detail, and there are some 2 or 3 slides on it. Any question, please? How many people are there? Ahtida?
Sir, we are having 57 participants.
Again, there is a problem with the participation and coming into the session. Okay, tomorrow we will discuss about these things I have told you, and there are 3 or 4 small topics. These are not difficult. You must get screenshots of these 4 or 6 slides, I think. 6 slides. Have you got these, or get it from me? Ask me tomorrow, I will give you. Someone asked me, Ali Zubair asked me that students don't have enough knowledge, so give some source of selection of topics. The best thing, Ali, would be that go into literature review, and one thing is area of interest. If you are from OTT, Operation Theater Technology, you should think about your area. If you are from radiology, then you should think about, if you are from public health, you should think about your topics. So topics are different for each field, and you have to go into literature and find the literature, go do the literature review, and find which area is having which is the biggest problem our community or our people are facing, or even our clinicians are facing. So go into literature and find there, and it must be based on your area of interest and your area in which you are field in which you are working.
Sir, there's another question by Mubin bin Talat, and he's asking that can we call conclusion an answer to hypothesis?
Can we?
Sir, can we call conclusion an answer to hypothesis?
Yes, hypothesis is, I have omitted basically hypothesis in this. I wanted to tell you topic selection objective. I basically deliberately omitted hypothesis in this because I don't want to confuse you. Go into these 3 things: topic selection, then objective, and then study designs. Focus on these 3 things. Once you focus on these things, the next thing would be hypothesis is simply a tentative statement. If I go If I can go back to the slides, is it visible or not? Slide is visible. Is it slide visible or not?
Not yet, sir.
I'm sharing again. Just just give me time sometime. It's gone actually. I give you example of hypothesis, right? About in these examples, you will find that how simple it is. Just give me some time. I'm trying to restart the share screen. What's wrong with it? I don't know. Yes, it's here. Now tell me, slides are there? Ladki, slide is visible or not?
Sir, it's visible.
Visible? Look now. So objective is to determine prevalence of anemia in adult rural population. Okay. So the hypothesis would be tentative statement. Before this, we go into basically we make hypothesis. So hypothesis is a tentative statement about the problem. Now it's up to you that you say like there is high prevalence of anemia in adult rural population. So this is your own tentative statement. You made it by yourself. Yet you can say the prevalence of anemia in adult rural population is low. Again, it is tentative. The conclusion that you draw from the results would be either it is high, if your tentative statement is there is high prevalence of anemia in adult rural population, then the conclusion would be that your hypothesis is not proved. Means you said earlier on that the prevalence of anemia in adult rural population is high, but your result showed it is low. So hypothesis is not proved. This is your tentative statement. So if you want to know about these things, we'll discuss this tomorrow in the beginning. And in this case, look, albendazole is better than hygienic food intake for treatment of anemia in adult. You have made a statement by yourself. Albendazole is better, or albendazole is not better than hygienic food intake. These are tentative statements that you make. There is another thing that you have to keep in your mind, that is research question, generating research question. Leave these things for now. Only focus on these few things like topic selection, objectives. For the beginner, it is enough. You can build on these things. You will find if you have gone, you have actually learned these things, you will find that you can add on this knowledge, and you can add on so many things. But these are the core things you need to know. Okay. Any further question? It's okay. Okay, Ahtida. So that's all for today.
Thanks a lot, sir.
See you tomorrow.
It was a great session. Thanks, sir.
Khuda Hafiz.